Hey everyone, how's it going? Kerry here with some F1 2015 gameplay. Yes, it's actually come out a lot earlier this year compared to other games, and I've got slightly mixed feelings about it, like I do with every single game. Every single year there's some good and it's mostly a lot of bad, but this year there's probably a lot more good, which I'm pleased to say. And I don't want to go into too much detail about lots of plus points today, but I think the major plus point from the 10-15 hours of gameplay that I've put in so far is the single player. And as you've probably just seen me bomb up the inside of people on lap 1, I can actually say that the single player is much more fun this season, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, believe it or not, ignore that what's just happened in this race, but the AI I think have become a lot more intelligent. So what I mean by that is, not only are they quicker, the car performances obviously dictate the pace a lot of the time there, but in terms of wheel-to-wheel combat, they're so much more fun to drive against, and it's been a long time for that to happen, and you can really tell the difference this year that Codemasters have put a little bit of work into the AI this year. So when you're racing wheel-to-wheel in previous games, you can just chuck it up the inside, run them out of the road, and they will yield position. A lot of the time they won't even defend, or they won't have the awareness of that you'd expect from an AI. But this year is just so much nicer to drive against. You have to take a lot more consideration when making overtaking moves, otherwise they're just going to spin you off. The aggression level has gone up. They do chop across you if you attempt to dive bomb, so you really have to pick your moments a lot better this year. As you can see, I'm making my way through the field here from the back of the grid and having a bit more of a challenge this time. I can't really just launch one up the inside and they're going to dive out of the way. They really do put up a fight this time, which is great, and that makes the racing a lot more fun. So most of my enjoyment from the F1 series so far has been online racing against human players, but the AI this time behaving more human-like. Now they don't fully defend. If you were going down a straight, they don't fully block the inside line, which probably still needs a bit of work, but they are super aggressive when they need to be as well. So I have been spun around by a couple of them where I've not taken much care. For example, I've gone around cars around the outside of turn 3 at Catalonia and been pit manoeuvred, and you need something like that. That's just part of real life racing, getting hit off by other cars, and they've kind of got that this year, so that's a lot more fun. The second bit probably is the handling. It's going in the right direction, and that makes the game a lot more fun to drive, especially against these AI as well. In low speed you can really feel the wheel spin. In high speed it's quite stable. Curb behaviour still needs improving, probably. You can go over curbs and still corner cut and not really get much punishment in terms of penalties, and also in terms of the car not really snapping into a spin or anything like that. It's probably quite evident at turn 12, where in F1 in real life they try and avoid that curb because it's going to pitch you into a spin otherwise at high speed, because it's going to unsettle the car so much. But you can still go through turn 11 and 12 here at Australia and not get punished. So it still needs a bit of improvement in terms of behaviour on the curbs, but overall the handling, step in the right direction this year, and really, considering how backwards 2014 was, I'm pleased that with the current state of the game at the moment. So single player is hugely stepped up, but the one thing that is really niggling me, and Codemasters being the enigma that they are, why have they taken out all these single player game modes, such as career mode, such as scenario mode, and maybe to an extent classic mode as well? Obviously we were questioning that last year, why they took out classic modes, because it was great to drive lots of different cars, and the inclusion of the 2014 season in this game proves that they can put cars in from previous years, so why are they not doing it? But career mode, this single player experience is dying for a career mode, because championship seasons, pro seasons, single races, they're all being dominated by Mercedes at the moment. Without that progressive career mode, they're always going to be the benchmark Mercedes. You won't be able to win races in a lower car like a McLaren, for example. Let's face it, they are a lower car, and the Mana Marussias, you know, the Saubers, the Toro Rossos, it's going to be a lot more difficult, near impossible maybe, to win a race without some kind of divine intervention or a setup or anything like that. If you have no knowledge of setups, if you just want to go in and jump into a race, you will need to be driving a Mercedes, a Ferrari, maybe a Williams if you're lucky, if you really want to have any chance of winning a race or fighting it out for a championship in a season mode. And we really needed that career mode this year, I think, to alter the car's performance as the season went on, and the field to tighten up, because it's not Codemasters' fault to an extent that they've got the car performances kind of spot on really, but it's more Mercedes' fault. So let's all blame Mercedes for F1 2015 shortcomings in single player this season. And also scenario mode. Needed a scenario mode this year. Wasn't many scenarios, to be fair, in 2014 that you could really replay. There's not much in the mines, maybe apart from Hamilton and Bahrain on a slower tyre, maybe. That's one scenario that I can think of. There's not many others. It wasn't a great season last year. It's not been too good either this year, so not many scenarios that could be made, but still, just having that scenario mode in there, you could put a couple more hours into that and enjoy it as well. I didn't really enjoy it. I think it was 13, we had the scenario mode. It might be 14, I can't really remember anymore. There's so many features that they've brought in and taken out in the past. So, but yeah, we really needed those single player experiences, considering how much improvement they've put into the AI, and they're not really showcasing it in the best way really. So it is fun, don't get me wrong, to do a championship season, but when you don't have that season progression into a second season, into a third season, into a fourth season, and the car performances have changed and altered over time, so don't really have that. It's a huge shame. Why have you not done it, CM? But yeah, there we go, single player, I think overall hugely improved, seriously. I'm having a lot of fun. I've put a lot more time into single player than I have multiplayer, which, as you've probably seen elsewhere, including my own channel, multiplayer being destroyed yet again by bugs. No co-op either this year, which baffles me, and also obviously the lack of single player. So why have they put the time and effort in to all these improvements in the actual races, but they've actually taken out a lot of the features in terms of game mode? So it baffles me, Codemasters, but you would expect nothing less, I guess. There's always got to be some low points, but this is very much a huge plus point, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So F1 2006 was probably the first game I played on the PSP, and on the PSP, so no online features here whatsoever. It was all based on single player, and I put so much time into it just because it was so much fun to drive and so much fun to just race and just be out there. And it's been a very long time since I've had a single player game, racing game, single player game, which I've actually want to put some time into. So it's definitely a step forward, CM. And yeah, I'm interested to see where they go from there. Really, probably backwards. Let's face it, this is probably the glory year for Codemasters. But let me know what you guys think of single player, because multiplayer is so broken. I'm sure you've probably all played single player a lot more, but yeah, want to know your thoughts and feelings on it really. Are you enjoying it as much as I am? Let me know.